In 2009, Nadya Suleman became the most controversial mother on earth after giving birth to the world's first surviving octuplets, while already raising 6 children at home. The media called her Octomom, and the world believed her life would end in disaster. No husband, no job, 14 children under one roof. But that was 17 years ago. So what really happened to this family? And what do the octuplets look like today? Here's the short answer. They survived, all 8 of them. And in January 2025, they turned 16 years old. But getting to that birthday, cost this family more than most people will ever know. Because the story between 2009 and today is not a feel-good story. Not at first. It's a story of a woman who fell apart, lost almost everything, and then quietly rebuilt her life while the cameras were gone. And it starts long before the octuplets were even born. Nadya Suleman was born in Fullerton, California in 1975. She grew up as an only child, earned a degree in child development from California State University, and worked at a state mental hospital for 3 years. She wasn't reckless. She was educated. In 1996, she married a man named Marco Gutierrez. They separated 4 years later and divorced in 2008. But long before the divorce, Nadya had already made a decision that would define the rest of her life. At 21 years old, she began IVF treatments with a fertility doctor named Dr. Michael Kamrava. Over the next several years, she gave birth to 6 children through IVF: Elijah, Amara, Joshua, Aiden, Kalissa, and Caleb. All 6 conceived alone. No partner, just her, a doctor, and a dream she couldn't let go of. One of those children, Aiden, was diagnosed as severely autistic, nonverbal, requiring total care, around-the-clock supervision every single day. That alone would have broken most people. But Nadya wasn't done. She said she had 6 frozen embryos left. She said she couldn't stand the idea of them being destroyed. So in 2008, she asked her doctor to transfer all the remaining embryos at once. What she didn't know, or what she claims she didn't know, was that Dr. Kamrava didn't transfer 6 embryos. He transferred 12. On January 26, 2009, Nadya Suleman gave birth to 8 babies in 5 minutes and 46 seconds. 6 boys, 2 girls, Noah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Jonah, Josiah, Makai, Malia, and Nariah, the first surviving octuplets in human history. And within days, the world turned on her. The media called her irresponsible, reckless, selfish. The nickname Octomom was plastered across every front page on Earth, and it wasn't meant as a compliment. People were furious. She was unemployed. She was a single mother already raising 6 children, including one with severe autism, living with her own parents. And now 8 more? Critics said she was deliberately exploiting the system, that she was using taxpayer money to fund an obsession, that those 14 children would suffer for her choices. And here's the thing. Some of that criticism found a target, because Dr. Kamrava, the man responsible for implanting 12 embryos into a woman who asked for 6, faced a full investigation by the Medical Board of California. In 2011, his medical license was revoked, gone, for what the board called an extreme departure from standard care. Nadya later said she regrets not suing him. She lost years of her life to a scandal that, at its core, began with a doctor who crossed a line. But in 2009, the public didn't care about the doctor. They only cared about her, and that's when things got worse, much worse. When the cameras first showed up, Nadya tried to stay composed. She appeared on Today, on Dr. Phil, on every major network. She insisted she could provide for her children. She said she had a plan, but the plan collapsed fast. By 2012, she had filed for bankruptcy. The house, the savings, gone. To keep her family fed, she made choices that the tabloids never let her forget. She posed for photos. She signed a deal with an adult film company, something she had refused for years, just to keep the lights on for 14 children. Think about that for a moment. What would you do to keep your children fed? That same year, she entered a rehabilitation center for anxiety, exhaustion, and stress. She described herself as completely broken. And while she was in rehab, she was still paying for nannies, drivers, and security, because 14 children don't stop needing care just because their mother is falling apart. By January 2013, she was back on welfare. And then, in 2014, came the arrest. Prosecutors charged her with welfare fraud, claiming she had failed to report nearly $30,000 in earnings from personal appearances while collecting government benefits. She faced up to 6 years in prison. She pleaded no contest to a single misdemeanor, 2 years probation, 200 hours of community service. The headline read, "Octomom convicted," but almost nobody reported what came next. In 2013, Nadya Suleman disappeared, not literally, but she stepped away from everything: the media, the interviews, the cameras. She changed her legal name from Nadya to Natalie and moved her family quietly to Orange County. For years, people assumed the worst, that the children were suffering, that the family had fallen apart. They were wrong, because while the world wasn't watching, Natalie was rebuilding. She became deeply religious. She restructured her entire household around what she later described as 3 things: God, food, and fitness. She became vegan. She got strict, with herself and with her kids. No chaos, no cameras, just 14 children, a mother who refused to quit, and a daily routine that outsiders would later describe as surprisingly disciplined. Her daughter, Nadya, one of the octuplets, later said, "Our mom will finally be able to say her side of the story, because I feel like it was very unfair how she was terrorized and hated for just being a mother." That sentence from a teenage girl says more than any headline ever did. On January 26, 2025, those 8 babies turned 16. Natalie posted photos on Instagram. "Happy sweet 16th birthday to Noah, Isaiah, Nariah, Malia, Jeremiah, Josiah, Jonah, and Makai. You are loved, valued, and appreciated more than words can express." The comments flooded in, not with hate, with awe. The octuplets are tall, healthy teenagers. Several are deeply into fitness. They train alongside their mother. Some have chosen to stay private. Isaiah, Jonah, and Joshua rarely appear online. Others, like Nariah, stepped forward in 2025 to help tell their family's story. Because in March 2025, Nadya Suleman did something that took real courage. She went back on camera, not for tabloids, not for money, but for a lifetime docuseries called Confessions of Octomom, and it was her own children who pushed her to do it. She said, "They're turning 16 and making the decision to really do this. Today, my family and I are taking our life back." Her older son Joshua already has a baby of his own. In early 2025, Natalie celebrated becoming a grandmother for the first time, posting a photo of her 6-month-old granddaughter with the words, "I can't believe our little angel is already 6 months old. You have been one of the greatest blessings in all of our lives." And in July 2025, Natalie turned 50 years old. She celebrated surrounded by her 8 youngest children. The woman the world said would fail is now 50. Healthy, deeply faithful, raising 14 children, and welcoming her first grandchild. Ask yourself honestly, how many people, given everything she faced, would still be standing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to OO channel for more. As always, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.